Hey crafters, it's me, Jen Evers with Quality Crafts, and it's Saturday, and you know what that means. It's time for another Bestie Share.
Hey crafters, it's Jen Evers with Quality Crafts, and today I'm going to be working with I Heart You, which is one of the besties. And I've already colored her up, and I'm going to put her on a card base that looks like this. Isn't that cool? It looks like one of those screens that you hide behind when you're changing, one of those old-time screens. Really neat. I'm going to show you how to make this today. So here are the basic measurements before we get started. You need one piece that's 8 1/4 by 6. And then we're going to score it at 2 3/4 and 5 1/2. And then depending on how far up you put your cut here, if you only go up as far as I did, which is about 1 inch, then you'll need 3 pieces that are 5 inches by 2 3/4. Okay, so this piece right here is 8 1/4 by 6. It's been scored at 2 3/4 and 5 1/2. And then I have my 3 pieces right here that are all 2 3/4 by 5. And they are going to make the panels for the card. I'm going to add something a little bit extra to mine, but I'll show you that in just a moment. So here I've got a piece of 8 1/2 by 11. And I'm going to cut this down to 8 1/4 by 6. So I'm going to take the 8 1/2 inch side and just cut this down to 8 1/4. You're only cutting off a small piece. Then I'm going to turn it and I'm going to cut it to the longer side, or the shorter side I mean, to 6 inches. I'm going to get the cutter out of the way. Bring in the score. I'm going to go ahead and put this on here. We're going to make sure that it's 8 1/4 by 6, which it is, and we're going to do our scoring, which is at 2 3/4. So it's the 2 inch mark, and then you go over 3 more black ones. The one right before the 3, if you're confused on your scoring. And then 5 1/2, which is 5 1/2, the long one in between the 5 and the 6, it's halfway point. 5 1/2. And go ahead and score that. And then it's just mountain valley, so score one way, and then score one the other way. So that when you're done, it looks like a Z. Okay, the next thing I did was, I have this really cool Stampin' Up! Punch. And I just went ahead and put this in the bottom and made sure it was lined up on both sides evenly so that I got a real square punch. And it went through all 3 layers of regular 65-pound cardstock. And that's what you're left with. And then when you open it up, you have the exact same punch on all 3 of them. That's how I did mine. And then I went ahead and I saved these pieces because I'm going to use these for some tags that I created to go into mine. I'll show you that next. If by some chance you don't have this punch, you can go ahead and use any kind of die cut that you have sitting around that maybe somebody gave you, or you just had a few that you bought, and you can put it on your paper, trace around it, and then hand cut that out. Another thing that you could do is just go ahead and draw a design that you like right here, close it up, and then cut all 3 together. Another thing you could do is use any other kind of punch that you have. And I would not recommend using one like this that has a scalloped edge because it's very hard to line up. But if you just did something as simple as a square or a circle, and I know this one will not punch through 3 layers, I would go ahead and line it up, do my punch, and then close it up on the next layer, line it up with the one I just punched, cut it again, and then line these 2 up, and then line that up with that circle where you just punched it, and punch it again. It might not line up exactly perfect, but it'll be close enough and you'll still have that same look. Okay, so that's for those of you who do not have that exact punch, because I know how frustrating it is to watch a video and go, oh, she has that really cool Stampin' Up! Punch, but I don't. What am I going to do now? Well, you've got several options, so I hope this will still work out for you. Okay, so now I cut an extra 3 pieces at 4 1/2 by 2. And that's what these are. 4 1/2 by 2 gives you just enough clearance so that you can tape your pockets down and have these as tags that fit on the inside and that pull out. And the reason why I did that and why I saved these purple cutouts when I cut the bottom here is so that I can glue these on the top. It'll still match the screen, but I'll have purple pull tabs for my, I'll show you one real quick, like this. So I have purple pull tabs to pull those tags out from the pockets. Cool, huh? So now that I've got all of my pieces done, my 8.5 by 6 scored at 2 3/4 and 5.5, my 3 pieces of 5 by 2 3/4, and my 3 pieces of 4.5 by 2, and then my tabs that I saved, I'm going to go ahead and speed up the process and show you how I put this card together. Now that you've seen how to put together the base, and you notice that I did cut down the inserts because I realized that once I glued it I had less of space than I thought I did, so I cut off 1/4 of an inch off of these 3 pieces right here. So it would have been 4.5 by 1 3/4. So I'll just make a mark there. So if I want to make it again, I can do it the same way, 1 3/4. And then I saved these from that cut that I was showing you because that pink nearly matches. It's almost a purple, but it looks really cool on here, so I thought I would add those for another nice touch. And what else was I going to mention to you about that fast forwarding? Something that, oh, if it comes to me, I'll let you know. If you have any questions about the fast forward part 2, because there was something that you didn't quite understand, just go ahead and leave me a comment in the section below and I'll get back to you. I'll answer it as best I can. These almost look like little crowns, don't they? I want to put jewels on them, but I'm trying to keep this one relatively flat because I'd like to send it out in a regular envelope. Otherwise, I would pull out some pearlized dots or some little gems or something, and I would put them there. Maybe some flatter diamond gems might work. And then I also pulled out some leaves that I thought would look really cool here. I almost can't do any projects without adding a flower. I don't know why. But I gotta make sure that these are all gonna be within that bending frame so that they don't get bent or, you know, not fit. So that looks pretty good. I'm gonna put them right there. I always get questions every time I use this glue. It's just regular Aleene's Turbo Tacky Glue. Sometimes I just put regular Aleene's Tacky Glue. It's totally up to you, but the bottle with this little nib and the little pin that goes in the end comes from Tilly's Bridge on Zibbit. It's zibbit.com/Tilly's Bridge if you want that. And then I want to put some white flowers on here, so I'm thinking this size would work really well, so I went ahead and pulled out my flower punch. You can use whatever flower punch you have. The size and however is completely up to you and your taste, so it really doesn't matter what you use. You don't need this punch. I've rearranged my craft room recently, so I'm kind of searching for things a little bit. But sometimes you just need a little change. So all I'm going to do is just roll these flowers a tad. Just the ones that are going to go on the top, because I know they're going to get flattened in mailing, but it just looks nice that way. So I'm going to go ahead and glue the bottom layer down. I'm kind of going, I'm heading for covering up the stems. So I don't really want the stems to show that much. And that's how I'm deciding where I'm placing them, just in case you're wondering, how do you decide where to place them? And also, I get questions too once in a while about how many should I put on. I always go for an odd number, 3 or 5. I never go for 4. I don't know why, I just don't think it looks right. I've heard that from other YouTubers as well, so I guess just go by your own intuition and what you think looks good. Almost like just the 1 layer better than the 2 layer. But since I've already kind of committed to this, I'm just going to go ahead and with it. And I may put something in the middle, but right now I'm really liking that white because here's I Heart You. And she's got a white border to her. I've already cut her out. And I want to put her on this side so that she avoids the bend. So that when it stands up, she's not getting crushed in the bend. Do you see what I mean? And I want to pop dot her up so she's got a little bit of dimension. So I'm going to go ahead and do that next. Part of her foot's going to be on this leg, so I really want to stabilize that leg by putting a pop dot right on there so that doesn't get all crazy on us. And then all I'm going to do is just line her up where she should go. And I'm looking right here, like I don't want to put any pop dots from that edge over, just on this side. So that's what I'm looking at when I do that. And none on her foot here because that's going to be off. So I need some on her pants. Got some on her hair. And it's okay to keep going back and double checking because, you know, you want to do it right. And then you need some on her dress. Sometimes, you know, I worry about putting it on their face because when the light hits it right, you can see that square. But you also don't want it to divot in. So I just go for kind of a really big piece. That's my happy medium. And don't forget we have this piece here yet. That's where that other shoe's going to go. That's how I'm going to balance her out to see that she's kind of standing straight. Make sure I missed that part. And that she's standing the way I want her to look. And then press her in place. And I know it's hard to see from this angle, but I will always, almost always, have still pictures at the end of my video so you can see how it goes. And then these cards slide out. These tags, and you can write whatever you want on those tags. And I just think this is a really fun card. I hope you followed me along today and that the tutorial was clear enough. Here are all of the measurements once again in case you want to pause the video and write it down. Thanks for joining me today. I hope that you love the besties as much as I do, and I'll see you guys next video.
Guys, it's me, Jen Evers with Quality Crafts, and I wanted to come on in lieu of the regular credits that I normally run to thank all of my subscribers for supporting me with your comments and your encouragement. I really enjoy reading all the comments, and that's what keeps me going. I like to share my joy and my passion in what I do with you guys, and I really enjoy making these videos. It's super fun for me, so thank you all. And also to the new subscribers, people who have recently come on board, thank you guys so much for being here. I'm really glad you're here. Welcome. Another thing I wanted to say is that I do tend to set up my videos, my tutorials in in particular to encompass everyone from beginner all the way up to advanced. So if it's a card you've never seen before and you're advanced, you can kind of look at all the measurements and just take off on your own. But if you're a beginner and you need those measurements and you need a step-by-step and someone to talk you through how to do it, then I hope I incorporate that as well so that you can follow along, pause as you need, and re-watch, because nobody's going to know but you. Another thing is that I like to give ideas of alternate tools that you can use. So if you don't have the fancy punches and you don't have the fancy punch boards and all the things that a lot of the crafters are using nowadays, I like to incorporate and show you different ways of doing that. Now, that doesn't mean that I'm all-encompassing and that I will always have some other way of doing it. Sometimes I just do a video with what I have and I just go for it. So if you've got questions, please leave them in the comments below and I will always try to get back to you. Another thing that I need to say before I sign off is that I do get all of my music from Kevin MacLeod, so I'd like to say a big shout out to him. His music is royalty free. You can donate to a site, which I've done in the past because I totally enjoy his music and I think it's really super that he gives it to us for free so we can use it on our videos. So thank you everyone for being here. I really, really appreciate your support, and I'll see you guys next video.